So we're recording. So let's get started.
Right on.
So first of all, thank you for joining me, Alex. I'm not going to say your last name because I don't want to embarrass you. Alex from Nekrogoblikon, and you guys have just recently, as recently as Friday, released your latest album, Fundamental of Slimes and Humours. So first of all, Alex, thank you for joining me. It's much appreciated. How have you been?
Been good. Reception of the album has been good. So yeah, can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, it only came out. I'm very well, thanks. Not a lot of people ask me that. People don't ask me how I'm getting on. So thank you.
Yeah, I like having a conversation, you know.
Yeah, this is what it's
one way,
about.
you know. Yeah.
So. It's a conversation. It's not an interview.
Yeah.
So the album came out on Friday, the 1st, which is like 4 days ago.
Yeah.
I know it's early doors, but have you heard a lot of feedback?
Yeah, been reading the online comments. You know, I can always like sitting refreshing. All right, let's see what everyone's saying. Yeah, it's been overwhelmingly positive. So yeah, no complaints. Yeah, you know, there's just the right amount of people not liking it. I get you know, I get skeptical if 100% love it. You got to find some of the hate in there, but yeah, it's been overwhelmingly positive. So it's great. It's the response we were hoping for. So
do you ever get annoyed at the negative comments, or do you just like breeze past them?
They're entertaining to me, mostly. And sometimes it's just like there's certain, obviously you can't please everyone, and there's certain people that are, you know, prefer us to go for a sound that we don't want to do. So it's just kind of like, oh, well, can't help you there. We don't do that. You know, it's
what sort of sound are you referring to?
I think that there's a few people who, and I think that every band deals with this, where there's people want you to sound like your first or second album when you're on your fourth or fifth album. And it's just, you know, that we don't relate to that sound anymore. You know, that doesn't do it for us. So it's, you know, it is what it is. Can't blame them for wanting that more. Can't blame us for not wanting to do that anymore. You know,
I can only imagine being a band like with the internet these days. Like before, you'd have to read it in a magazine, like from, you know, pick it up and review the album, see it in the magazine. Whereas now it's instant, and everyone has an opinion.
Right. Yeah. Well, what's even more recent is not, people don't even have just opinions of the songs, the music. Is I think in the last 5 years, I've seen so many more people having opinions on the mix and the production, and suddenly everyone's an expert.
Yeah, that's funny because I actually saw, and I don't know whether you saw it, but he was a metal producer apparently, and he was looking at This Is It, the video, and he was talking about the production and all of that, and
I saw that video. Yeah.
Oh, you did you? What did you think of it?
I thought it was good. I mean, I thought it was a fair review. Yeah, I know. I remember he was saying some things like he wanted the snare to be more sampley, but again, that's something that we were intentionally not going for. We wanted to sound like a live band, you know, like a real band played it. So that's, again, that's a matter of taste. I mean, we didn't want to. That was very intentional how it sounds. So. Yeah.
This is the beauty of opinions, though, is that if everyone liked the same thing, it would be boring. And
totally, yeah.
Like, so you're, like you said, you're getting good comments, you're getting bad comments, and they can't all be good.
No, they can't. Yeah, they shouldn't be. Yeah.
No, but at least you don't take them seriously, and it doesn't affect you, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
so
Okay, go on.
No, go on, carry on.
I was gonna say, in the earlier days when we were first coming out, you know, people were first hearing of the band, it was negativity right off the bat, just because there was the whole gimmick aspect. So we're pretty callous to online criticism at this point. But you know, I think we've changed a lot of people's minds, which is also cool. So
I'll come back to what you just mentioned there about the gimmick piece, but I just want to.
That's good.
Like, you've been going for so long now, and did you like this? I know this sounds like a real obvious question, but when you said about the gimmick piece, did you ever think you would still be going this long and still be making music that is connecting to so many people?
Well, we'd always hoped, you know, we always hoped that it would continue to do well and continue to connect to more people, but I don't think we ever had the expectation where it was always like, I don't know, that's like, you know, like 10 years ago, we probably would have said, this maybe has another 5 years left in it before we do something else, but it just kept growing. So, you know, it's like, all right, well, I guess we're still doing this. So.
And like I hate to use the word gimmick, but you said it, so it's your fault.
I said it. I'll own that.
But like Nekrogoblikon, when I listen to, let's take the latest album, for example, like it obviously is very dramatic and is theatrical as well. But underneath all that, like if you talk about the music, there's elements of deathcore, death metal, etc., etc. Do you purposely add on those theatrics to play up to it? And do you think ever you would strip back the theatrics, so to speak?
So theatrics, you mean kind of visually, just with John Goblikon, or do you mean like, yeah? Yeah. Just okay. Just want to make sure, yeah, because some people can consider some of it to be musically theatric in certain parts, but in terms of we don't make the music necessarily with like that part in mind. We've always liked, because John Goblikon was created by Brandon Dermer, who directed who directs all of our music videos, and he made that No One Survives video. We were a band before that video came out. We already had 2 albums out, and this was kind of a new element that got introduced, and we embraced it, and it fit the band, because we're not like a fantasy folklore type band. We've always we've been really tongue in cheek. So that was a way to bring that element into this more modern, relatable kind of sphere. So we embraced it, but we always, and both Brandon and us have liked that there are these kind of parallel things that the music is created without that in mind. And the character has his own things and his own characteristics, personality, story. But we find these intersecting points between the music and him that we then turn into music videos and content and stuff like that. But I think that's allowed us to stay genuine with what we want to make, and not trying to, okay, now we have to make music like this because we have John Goblikon. So like we have to now make a bunch of music that you could hear at a Chili's or something, like it's, so we've kept it really kind of pure in that sense. And it happens to just go well together. And at the shows, it feels like a very cohesive unit together. And, John's the band's biggest fan, and he's just happy to be there, so.
When I first read that his name was John Goblikon, I honestly had tears in my eyes, because my brain couldn't put it together that it had an actual name. And I think it was absolutely brilliant. And sorry, like just come back to the music. Sorry, and
all good.
So so what I was saying is, like, underneath all this theatrical of John Goblikon, etc., the music is excellent, and this album really is. There's so much good stuff going on that each time I listen to it, I'm finding new stuff. Like, and as a band, like, how much fun do you have writing albums like this? Is there an element of fun, or is it serious?
It's serious. Like, and Nikki's the main composer, our singer. He's writing like, he writes all of it, like 99%. Every now and then I'll come in with a riff or a lead idea. But he and I together kind of like, I kind of will play as a kind of a sounding board for him, kind of like, hey, what do you think of this? And, we'll come over and just like bounce ideas back and forth. And so the process, it's a lot of work. It's obviously, with everything, we make it seem like it's all fun and easy, but it's a lot of work. But the best moments of it, the most inspired moments of it are fun. Like, we're usually when one of our favorite ideas comes up, it's like we're laughing our asses off when it's like, especially like the song "Going to Die," like that song kind of came about. He and I were laughing hysterically while like we're like should we do it? Like, we should, like, let's put that in there. So that element always kind of has to be there, like, to an extent, and that's kind of the inception of the band relied on that feeling, that attitude. But there's a lot of just serious, just finessing, and a lot of the music's difficult to play. It's a lot of practicing for recording it, and so it's a good balance of fun and hard work, I'd say.
How many songs from the recording sessions of the latest album were left out, or was there anything left on the cutting room floor?
We didn't really record anything that was written and was not going to go on the album.
Okay.
We maybe had one song, but there was a ton of music that didn't make the album. And Nikki wrote like 35 to 40 almost completed songs.
Wow.
Because he'd been writing ever since we got off tour for our first 2 tours for Welcome to Bonkers. Nikki just got on a roll writing wise. And that's the first time we've been in that position. Usually it's like, all right, you guys have to go record this date, have a certain amount of songs ready. And we just like, all right, we finished our 11th song for the album. So that's it, So this time it was a bit difficult, and it's kind of like, everything Nikki writes is awesome in my opinion. And it was kind of figuring out, okay, like what are we trying, who is the band with this album? Like what are we trying to focus on? What is Nekrogoblikon? And we had to kind of like really go in and just choose the best. And, we want songs to be different from one another, but we wanted the songs to still very much all be, okay, this sounds like the band. This sounds like Necro on, but with just a little more pushed further in a different direction depending on the song, So like you mentioned, we have like some deathcore influences. So like Lesson and Hate, that's like, all right, we're going to go all the way into heavy with a little folk and EDM sprinkled in, but it was a tough process to whittle it down, but ultimately I feel like we made the right decisions with every song. So,
and you say Nikki writes 99% of it. Do you mean as in guitars, keyboards, drum parts, and things like that?
Oh yeah, he composes it all in Logic. Yeah, so it's using like fake instruments at the time. So it's like, so we come in and record the real thing, but he's sending us our parts basically. So
that's unbelievable. How does it, how does he have any time? Is he always writing then, or like?
Most of the time, yeah. He spends most of his time writing music, yeah. And not just Nekrogoblikon. He's got like a slew of other music. He's got so much, and he writes in every genre. He can competently write a pop song, and like he has a couple hip hop songs. He can do it all. He can do it all, yeah.
He's one of these really annoying people who can do everything.
Yes, yeah. It's really frustrating. Like, how do you? But he put his time in. He's spent hours, like I think ever since he was like 15, just writing music. So it's he was consistent about it.
So when it comes to recording the album, like when you're all in the room together, I would imagine when it comes to life, the sound is pretty special. And is Nicky like? Is he beaming smiles when he sees it all coming together, or?
Oh yeah, he loves hearing it real for the first time. Absolutely, and I think that is like, I think the most like gratifying part of it is seeing the kind of the blueprint and then seeing the building finished made. It's the like, oh, it's real now. This is actually going to exist. People are going to hear this. This is awesome. So yeah. And
this is a self-release, which. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think most of your albums, or if not all of them, are self-releases.
Yeah, they're all self-releases. So, and that's kind of where like I handle the kind of the label side of the band kind of. So it's, we distribute everything ourselves. We fund it ourselves. We manage it. We kind of like, we handle all aspects ourselves, and which means we get to actually keep some of the money we make from it. So that's.
And was that like the specific reason why you're doing this, like self-release? Because, in this, there seems to be a conception that every band is trying to get signed, and that is like making it, like you see all these, in films, like, oh, we got signed and we've been offered a 3-year or 3-record deal with so-and-so and so-and-so. But actually, from your point of view, that's obviously not the case, and you've proven that you can do. I mean, what is this? This is the 5th album, is it?
I think, fifth album. Like if you count our EP, it's our 6th release.
6th including the EP. That's right.
Yeah.
But you're proof that you don't need to have a record label.
And there's more and more bands like us doing the same thing these days. Yeah, it's definitely like, and I think it's a lot of people are learning to do things themselves, not just the business side of it, but a lot of bands have a member who is also a producer who can record everything and maybe mix everything. So yeah, it's becoming more and more of a practice. I think the record label model is like really outdated at this point, kind of like in terms of, especially with how much they keep, like a lot of those contracts there. They're funding. It does have a purpose, and especially like if your band is dead broke and can't pay for anything, and like, yes, you should sign a label deal because that's your only option. But like, a lot of these deals are kind of like, the label's still keeping like 80% after recoupment and everything, and it's not practical. Like, you can't make a living off that. You can't. It's difficult enough making a living as an independent band. But when you have a label, you have someone else taking that larger percentage of your streaming revenue, then it becomes that much more difficult. And it makes that much harder for the band to continue being a band, because at a certain point you're like, okay, we're literally only losing money doing this. There's no one's making money, so it can kill bands too.
In the early days or at any point in your career, have you been offered contracts?
When the No One Survives video came out and it went viral, we did get an offer, but it was something where it wasn't enough money for how much, like, we're like, we can put that up ourselves. Like, we can put our money together and dip into our savings, whatever, all like, we could pool it together and cover that, and also not give away any of our rights. So why would we accept this offer, And so
this is very interesting, actually, the rights, because you hear a lot of stuff about masters and record companies holding on to them. I think probably the biggest one in the metal genre would have been Motley Crue and Nikki Sixx getting the master tapes back for them. Do you think that's the biggest thing, the biggest insecurity with signing a label?
I mean, yeah, because the ownership factor, that someone else, like, you made something completely yourself, and then someone else just owns it, like it's a piece of real estate, like, and yeah, you don't have choice of where it goes. And sometimes that can be helpful, right? Sometimes the label can get it placed into a movie or something and provide revenue, but more cases than not, they're just making way more off of something that you put time into making, and they funded it. But I think the model is not completely terrible. I just think that it needs to the scale needs to go back a little to being a little like more 50-50 artist label.
Have you ever thought about doing your own label?
But it seems like a lot of it. I have thought about it. Yeah. So technically Mystery Box is our label. Just there's only one band signed to it, and it's Nekrogoblikon. But yeah, I've thought about it, and it's kind of like, and so far I haven't met a band that, I feel like, okay, I can work with this and I can do something with it. But I've always opened that possibility in my mind that, that could be something I start, and it wouldn't be my biggest thing with it. I think in this day and age, like, trying to start a label and have that being a sole, just like being a musician, doing a label and having that be a sole source of income, it would be difficult. And I think a lot of the reason so many of these deals are bad is because the label's just trying to subsist off just being a label. And I don't think in this day and age, with the value of recorded music, I don't think that's a sustainable model either. So I think that, if I were to do it, I would also do it in a way where I'm not, okay, cool, this label's going to pay for everything in my life now. That wouldn't be my attitude. My attitude would be, because I enjoy building bands and seeing bands succeed,
Yeah. We could go on all day about this subject, because I find it so interesting. But we won't, because I know your time is precious. Coming back to Nekrogoblikon, the band itself, the past 2 years have been horrendous for, people who've lost jobs, their homes, people have died, like professional artists like yourself have lost money, and it's been a really tough time, like emotionally and mentally for some people as well. And music for me is always one of those things that is a constant. Like, I can put something on that will always make me, it'll pick me up, or I could put on something sad when I want to be sad, Nekrogoblikon, to me, and this is what I want to understand, is they're a band to me that sort of says, and I don't mean this to come across as disrespectful to you guys, but not to take life too seriously. Like, there's so much fun and enjoyment to get out of this band. Is that how you Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would say that's definitely a take home message from it. One of the take home messages, and it's all, there is kind of a whole range of emotions and messages happening, and it's kind of just the human experience, or the goblin experience, I should say. But yeah, but ultimately though, I think if there's one take home message people should take away from it, it's kind of like, everything's bullshit, just have fun. Like it doesn't, the things that we're told really fucking don't matter that much. And yeah, and our live shows are all about just having the most fun as possible. And that, especially we're, and sometimes we're always touring with bands that are, and this is not a diss against them either, but are like, there's a lot of metal posturing and taking themselves seriously. And I love a lot of those bands, but we're kind of this breath of fresh air. We're just like, fuck it. No, let's have smiles on our faces and jump around and be idiots, kind of thing.
100%. And that thing in metal is so true, because there does seem to, posturing is a great word, but there's a lot of bands who they do take their art seriously, and that is absolutely fine. Some of my favorite bands,
I listen to those bands. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like Opeth are my favorite band of all time. And, I mean, like musically, and 90% of the time they're serious, other when Mikhail's actually talking on stage and telling jokes. But I'm taking an example like Tool, for example, who I'm seeing in Dublin in a month's time.
Nice.
And when I think of seeing Tool, I know musically it's going to be great, but I'm not getting anything from the band themselves to complete the experience. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why, like you said, when you come out, all guns blazing, smiles on your face, the crowd get that energy as well.
Yeah, we've been told a lot that you guys look like you are having fun playing on stage. You guys are actually enjoying it. I was like, that's because we are. That is completely accurate.
Sorry. And for you personally, Alex, like during COVID, how's it been for you?
It was it kind of, in terms of the band, we had done so much touring right before, like we basically got home from Europe and COVID hit. So it was kind of like, I was already ready to not tour for a little bit. So that worked out for a while. And we're like, okay, we already have to work on new music. But how long it lasted was definitely like, a thing that I don't think anyone anticipated. So yeah, it was difficult. And everything I do is in the music industry. I also, I co-own a music venue in LA with two other musicians and friends of mine. And we had to shut that down also. So it was definitely like like everything I was involved with had to come to a halt. So the only thing I could do musically was just play and record. So on the bright side, I put more time into that, improved my skills. I think I became a better guitarist over the pandemic.
Okay.
So, looking for the silver linings, that was the good thing. And it's great now coming back, and everyone has this renewed excitement for everything. There's not like, it felt like things got so saturated by the end of 2019, and it felt like everyone was kind of over it, and this renewed energy and excitement is like, I can't wait to play our first show back, because I think it's just going to feel fresh again. It's going to feel good again. So I'm excited about that. But yeah.
I mean, America, compared to, well, certainly us here in Ireland, but in Europe as well, like America seemed to just like open up and was like, let's go. Whereas here it's sort of like, I think I've seen 2-3 gigs since like 2020, well, since the pandemic. So I assume you're very, very excited are you anxious or nervous about going back on stage?
I know I have a feeling that our first 2 or 3 shows back, we'll have like the jitters a little bit, but I think, it's like, it'll be like riding a bike. I think like once we get in it, a few shows in, we'll feel completely comfortable. But yeah, it's been a while. This is the longest I've gone without playing a show since I was like 19. So
wow.
Yeah. So it feels foreign. It feels like I'm re-entering a past life in a way.
Have you been rehearsing with the guys?
Yeah, we had our first rehearsal like a couple weeks ago. And
how was that?
It was great. It sounds good. It was our first time playing the new songs, and they all sounded great. We're really amped on it. So
So that's the first time you played the songs since recording the album. Now,
yeah, and at first I'm playing them as a band together.
Yeah.
Because we all just tracked individually. So so it was our first time, doing it all at the same time. And we're in my head, I'm like, who knows? This could be a train wreck. This could be great, but it sounded great. Like it sounded tight and awesome.
And was everyone just smiles in the room, like loads of energy and laughing and stuff?
Yeah, we were stoked. I mean, we were kind of busy just making sure we we're taking care of all the technical issues. We have like a very complicated stage setup and everything. So we're just like, it was a lot of work involved. Again, it's the same thing that we're recording. It's a lot of fun, but a lot of just, grinding. So, but I think by the time we have that all like finished, by the time it's all the work is done and we're actually playing shows, I think that's when we get to just have fun with it,
So do you, because you said you do your own business side, do you do your own like stage production and technical, or do you have a crew as well to help with that?
Oh, we have a crew. We can never have too large of a crew because we're such a large band.
Yeah.
So there's like 6 musicians in the band, then we have 1 goblin. And then that usually leaves us with only like maybe options for like 2 or 3 like crew. So everyone in the band has, pulls their weight, and like we all like help out with everything. We don't ever get to just kind of like lay in our bunk and have everything set up for us or anything like that. We have to do everything. And but yeah, it's not hard. Like once we're on the road, it's just routine, and it's just like it's part of your day. So
do you consider yourself, and I hate to use these 2 phrases, but there's two ways I see like bands at the moment, and it's either underground or mainstream, and I hate to use them because but
yeah,
am I right in saying, was it Post Malone or something called you out in an interview?
Yeah, with Joe Rogan. Yeah.
Like, how mind-blowing is that?
that was nuts. I was receiving texts as soon as it happened, like, dude, like Joe, like Post Malone just shouted you guys out. That was great. That was another kind of slew of people who had never heard of us that exposed and checked us out. So that was great. Yeah, I did not see that coming.
It's one of those real sort of surreal things where it came out. I mean, like your music as well is, when I say accessible, and I mean no disrespect at all when I say this, but accessible, because
we go for accessible. That's definitely, it's a objective goal of ours. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
Because like my stepbrother is a massive dance trance sort of guy. He loves Nekrogoblikon. Like we were talking about it the weekend, he was so excited that I was getting to chat to you. And the other thing is, my kids love you guys. They're 3 and 5.
Oh, awesome.
And I showed them the video for This Is It, and they were absolutely loving it. They were dancing around. I didn't show them the end bit with the deaths. That was a bit much.
Right.
But like just so much fun. And I suppose touring then, you're obviously going to have a tour of Europe first, I assume. And then you are coming to the UK and you're doing Bloodstock this year. Mm-hmm. You're playing the Friday, I think, on this.
We're doing the Thursday.
It's a Thursday, sorry.
The pre-show kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you've done Download before, haven't you?
Yeah. Like 9 years ago. Yeah, we did Download, yeah.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. What's the difference for you between a UK or European fan show and an American one? Can you see any distinct differences?
I'd say the UK has always, I feel like, been very enthusiastic about us, and like specifically, and I would say like all of the UK feels like all of the biggest cities in America that we play. Europe, on the other hand, Europe is a mixed bag. Like there's I think Germany has a very different vibe than we're used to with the UK. But then there's like Hungary, like every time we play Budapest, it's like wild.
Yeah.
Same with Czech Republic. And those are like, there's a huge difference from when we go between Europe and the UK, just in terms of people are still enjoying it, but the way in which they enjoy it, I feel like it's a bit different. Yeah.
because I've never experienced a show in the US, like personally, but I've been to plenty of shows in Europe, and I've always wondered, like, Machine Head's the big one that jumps out. Like Rob Flynn's always said, like, you know, that Europe was, or the UK especially, really took to and gave him a starting point, and just this isn't like UK against America sort of.
I know, yeah.
Battle.
Yeah.
Who, Alex? Who do you think's better, the States or like? I was just genuinely curious.
I know, yeah. Yeah, there's a I think because we were on such a big tour in the UK and we had such a big we had such a monumental show at Download 9 years ago that I think there's a certain it feels like we kind of hit it off with the UK first before everyone else caught on. So it feels like the UK have been there since the beginning, you know.
So what you're saying is the UK wins.
Not explicitly.
I'm only joking. People listening, this is a joke. Do not take that literally. So, final question for you, Alex, and this has been great. This has been so much fun.
Agreed.
In terms of Fundamental Slimes and Humours, where would you rank? And you can be as arrogant or as modest as you like with this question. Where do you rank it in Nekro's discography?
Number one, without a doubt. Full arrogance.
Full
arrogance.
You rank it at that high?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that without a doubt. And you know, and obviously every time we do a record, we're like, okay, we got to make it the best one we do, and that's always the goal. I've never upon completing this one and listening back and then listening back to our older stuff, I had no doubt. I was like, yeah, this is, you know, at the very least, this is our favorite, by far our favorite, bar none. So, and it seems so far that a lot of fans feel the same way. So that's good.
And any particular, do you think this is down to what you were saying earlier? During COVID, you had a lot of downtime to practice. Do you think musically you're all better and in tune, sort of thing?
Yeah, I think the band overall got better. Nikki's vocals went up at least 2 tiers. I feel like Eric, our drummer, he is already an amazing ripper of a death metal drummer. And this time around, it was even our producer and me were in this studio watching play. Did he get even better? Holy shit! Yeah. So yeah, I think we all took it up a notch. I think, and I think maybe perhaps being indoors this long and just having to just have nothing to do but play music, I imagine was a contributor to that.
So for 2 years, you just sat and got better at playing music. For 2 years, I sat and got fatter. It seems like an unfair trade-off.
We got fatter too.
That makes me feel a little bit better at least. Alex, thanks so much for your time, man. This has been great. And the new album's wicked.
Thanks, man.
I hope to catch you at some point. I'm hoping to do Bloodstock, depending on a few things here and there. But
great to see you there.
Yeah, 100%. And I wish you best of luck for the rest of the tour and the album release. And thanks once again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much, Alex.
Thanks a lot. All right, take care, man.
Cheers, man. See you.
Bye.